Hard Hey Gang, Nate Bear here, lead technical tactician for Monument Traders Alliance and trade of the day. And in today's video update, just kind of want to go over, this craziness that has been happening on the SPY, on the Qs, right, and the indexes and the markets in general, and just kind of see kind of where we're at. Maybe try to find a couple of levels that we could potentially look for some sort of a bounce. We'll see. And then I've got a setup for you as well. Okay, so let's start with the SPY. Now, one of the big levels that I'm looking at is this major 618 retracement. And if you're not sure what a retracement is, it's basically, I go from a low to a low of a move, this into a high of a move, and then you get a retracement. It's from Fibonacci, right? So from this high, that low, to this high, pulling back, right? The 618 retracement comes in at around 550. That's also a psychological level, right? $550, 500, 600, stuff like that. So that's an area that I'm looking at for possible support on the SPY. If we look and do the same thing on the Qs, we kind of hit that level yesterday, very nearly to the penny. We were trying to trade this in the room, off of this 618 retracement. We came within like 30 cents of that 618 retracement, and we got a really sharp bounce, which kind of crazy, right? We got it's just amazing, the volatility these days, right? It's a 6.5 point bounce in about 25 minutes. Absolutely wild. But this is an area on the Qs. Now, I kind of think that the S&P is going to go down to that 618, but it may not be, today. We're also at a point where we probably can start looking for a bounce. And if we start to get a bounce that comes through, we can look to figure out a place to re-short, okay, or to short again or whatever. But I am looking for that really strong sort of bull market, counter trend, or, bear market counter trend bounce, right? Those are some of the strongest sort of bounces that we get, are the bullish counter trend bounces when we're inside of like a bear market situation. We're not in a bear market. I'm just saying this is a pretty nasty move down. The other thing I wanted to show you was, just in the Qs, this is kind of like what I'm watching. I go to a 30-minute chart. We take off the extended hours here. And this is kind of our world right now, right? So we're moving from the top to the bottom, to the top, 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 to the bottom. We're within this channel. And while it feels incredibly choppy and wild and crazy, that's all that's really happening, right? It's a 10% correction at this point. The S&P isn't quite the 10%, but it's closing in on it. So we'll see. At some point, I believe we'll probably break out of this. We'll have a more meaningful sort of retracement, and then we'll probably go over and at least test and possibly break these lows, wherever they end up coming in. I'm not saying that this is going to be the low, but we are due for sort of a counter trend, screaming sort of counter trend bounce, and then possibly a retest. Okay, so the name that I'm watching for entry, one of the few names here that is actually setting up, it's not Tesla, but it's Cisco. And this is a solid looking chart, right? We've got this is also sort of in the channel, right? But within that channel, Cisco's down like $3 over the course of this same period on the Qs, right? So as the Qs have been going straight down, they're down a ton. Cisco's been holding up great, just sort of immune to all this. We're at a great buy zone right down here off the 55 EMA. So my thought on this is actually going all the way out into May, because these options are pretty cheap, and getting the $60 calls. So giving yourself like 2 full months. Don't even try to worry about timing it. Or trying to get cute with shorter dated options, but just the Cisco 516 $60 calls, right? So entry would be around this level, around 62. I would do a stop on close under 60, and then targets is going to be 67.50, right? So you're risking, $2 to try and make it around 5. Pretty good option for a risk reward play in a name that is pretty stable, like Cisco, right? This isn't terribly volatile. It's got like a pretty low ATR. So one you can kind of get in and just sort of sit on. I think it's not one that's going to make you lose any more hair. I know for me personally, that's something I've got to be aware of. This market's accelerating my hair loss, right? And so anyway, that's a pretty straightforward play. I'll get this typed up. I hope it helps, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, have a good one. Later.